So a while back I made a video on why I gave up caffeine, and surprisingly that video has been super popular. Now I've gotten a lot of questions in the comments about, okay, well, if you've given up caffeine, how do you stay energized? How do you keep going? How do you get stuff done? Today I'm going to answer those questions in this video. If you haven't seen my other video and you're curious as to why I gave up caffeine and the pros and cons of that choice, I will link to that up here if you'd like to check that out. I've been caffeine free for over 5 years now, and I don't regret it for a single moment. Well, there is the occasional jet lag moment where I've come off an international flight and I think, gee, some caffeine would be really helpful right now to keep me awake, but I still have not succumbed. Now, if you're new to this channel and you don't know who I am, my name is Jess. I've been self-employed for 13 years. I had to think about it then. I work from home. I'm completely in control of my schedule and my time, which does help matters, and take that into account when I'm going through my list today. If you're curious what my businesses are, I make eco-sterling silver jewelry, and I also teach makers how to run thriving and profitable handmade businesses. Links to both of those are in the description. Okay, so let's get into my ways of staying energized when you are caffeine free. The most obvious one is, of course, getting enough sleep. I have always been someone who needed a lot of sleep. I've never been someone who could stay up cramming the night before for an exam. I always got a sweet 8 hours beforehand. I've never been someone who liked to party all night. I'm done by midnight and I want to be in my bed. So sleep has never been a huge issue for me. I am certainly finding as I'm getting into perimenopause, sometimes it can be a little harder to stay asleep, but I personally don't have many problems falling asleep, except when I might be experiencing a little bit of anxiety. But as I talked about in the caffeine video and my other video on how I healed my anxiety, that's not usually a problem very often anymore. So sleep is obvious. If you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be tired. There's no way around that. There's heaps of information out there on how to sleep, but I do things like wear earplugs, wear an eye mask, make sure the room is cool enough, have a hot shower before I go to bed so that my body temperature drops. I listen to relaxing ASMR videos or meditations like yoga nidra before I go to sleep to help my brain switch off. Long story short, I practice good sleep hygiene to ensure that I protect my sleep. I make sure I go to bed early enough and don't get up too early so that I try to get an absolute minimum of 7.5 hours sleep a night, sometimes more. I did a video a while ago on how to sleep better, and I will leave a link to that up here as well. The second thing is getting enough exercise. If all you're doing is sitting around all day, and trust me, as someone who works from home, this is really easy to do. My commute is literally up the hallway from my bedroom to my office with a couch in between. So if I don't consciously go out and make myself exercise, I can suffer, and my sleep will suffer, and therefore my energy levels will suffer. I find that if I don't get exercise, my body's just not really tired, and so it's harder to get to sleep at night. Whereas if I've done a workout, or I've gone for a long walk or a long swim, or gone for a hike, whatever it might be, I've done enough to get my body actually physically tired so it's ready to go to sleep. And that is a key to the whole process. It's like a domino effect. You know, if you mess up in one of these areas, it affects the next one, which affects the next one, and it's kind of a horrible downward spiral. The next one, of course, is nutrition. I make sure that I eat enough, but hopefully not too much. Now, the temptation when you give up caffeine is to substitute sugar as your energy booster. I try hard not to do this. Occasionally I might, mid-afternoon have a little bit of a candy or something if I'm feeling particularly flat, but most of the time I avoid this, and I find that by keeping my sugar levels relatively stable, that also helps to avoid those real up and downs, because if your blood sugar is fluctuating a lot, then you get those crashes which make you feel tired and irritable, which I guess a lot of people then just have more sugar or have more caffeine, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. So I do my best to eat a good amount of protein at every meal, keep myself satiated, and keep my energy levels up while avoiding those massive sugar spikes. Also, stay hydrated. If you're dehydrated, that makes you feel sluggish as well. So I try really hard to drink enough water. I drink rooibos tea It's a non-caffeinated tea that I substitute for black tea because I love having a cup of tea multiple times a day. And this is the only one I found that I can have like with milk in it and it feels like a real cup of tea rather than just a herbal tea. Although you can drink it either way. But that helps definitely to keep me hydrated. I drink lots of water. I live in a subtropical climate, so in the summer half of the year, it's really easy to remember to drink water. But when it's cold and, you know, again, you're sitting around all day, not doing perhaps a lot of physical movement, it can be easy to forget to stay hydrated. A trick for this is to have like a carafe or a bottle of water on your desk, so it's always in front of you and it's just easy to reach for. Another really important part of this for me is following my natural energy rhythms. Now, everybody's going to be different. You might be a morning person who wakes up full of energy and leaps out of bed and gets on with the day. That is not me. I spend about an hour in bed in the morning before I actually get up, just so I have time to wake up. I've never been someone who woke up and was ready to like face the day straight away. I like to ease in gently. And as I am in complete control of my time and what I do with it, I can work my life around that. So I do my thinky work, you know, my mentally challenging work in the morning because that's when my brain is fresh and it works well. I find that after lunch, I tend to just be a little bit less energetic in the mental department. So that's when I do, like, I make my jewelry then, I do like admin stuff that doesn't require deep thinking or complex thinking. It's just kind of surface level stuff. And then by kind of mid-afternoon around 3 p.m, I'm usually done and I go do a workout or I go do some gardening, then I go for a walk, then I have dinner. And then sometimes I might do some work in the evening because my mental energy kind of picks up again between like 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. And I might do some, you know, social media drafting or nothing too strenuous, but it's a time where I can do some more thinking work if I really need to. If you're self-employed like me and you have control of your time, then this is a really good way of organizing yourself so that you work with your energy ebbs and flows. If you're not, then, you know, try to, if you have any control over your job and the sort of work you do at what time, then try to work with that and make sure you do your most mentally challenging tasks when you are most mentally alert naturally. Now, one little time management tip that I will give you if you are struggling, if I'm really busy and I'm struggling to focus, I just use the Pomodoro technique, which is a timed work schedule technique. So the original one is 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes of rest. I find I can't get into something enough in 25 minutes. So I do a modified version where I work for 45 minutes and then I have a 15-minute rest. And I find for me and my mental focus, that is a really good time frame because I feel like I can get a good chunk of work done in 45 minutes and then 15 minutes feels like a decent break as well. And then by the end of that, I'm ready to get back and focus again. So that is a nice little hack that I do use when I need to really knuckle down and focus. Of course, everybody's going to be different. Everybody has different life circumstances, but I do fully believe that anybody, if they really wanted to, could give up caffeine and still be able to work and focus really, really well. But it's a personal choice. If it's something you're interested in, then I hope the tips that I gave you in this video will help you make that transition. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, you might want to check out my original caffeine video, or you might like to check out this video about healthy habits, and I will leave it right here for you. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.